Monday. No, you don't have to learn. You're welcome to sit right there the whole time and just drool. Nothing bad will happen to you forever. Monday, November 6th, we're going to celebrate not learning. And get into poetry. Did anyone have camp pickups and stuff? I kind of forgot to ask that one earlier.
Wait, I'm going.
Yeah?
Do you find the forms on your website?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also in the office, or if you see me at the end of class, I have other ones too. All of those are options. And then you're going to start reading your book report book. It just means in general, at home, at some point, read the book. The reason I say you want to have your book done by Thanksgiving, or the end of Thanksgiving break, when we come back from Thanksgiving, that Monday, we're going to start reading a class novel together. And so we're going to be done with poetry, and we're going to be reading a book. And so you're going to have a lot of homework, but the homework is going to be reading. And so if you don't want to be reading 2 books at once, you're going to want to have your book report book done. Otherwise, you're going to have the reading of our in-class book, which kind of a fun one, and then also your book report book, which is your choice. But that's why I said be done by the end of Thanksgiving. Or don't be, and then suffer later on and curse yourself.
Yeah.
Choices. Exactly.
Okay, so I have one question depending if I'm wondering how much work do we do at Thanksgiving?
It's both work and blocking. So there's a packet of information we cover through there, but you're learning while having fun, so it doesn't really feel like work. So.
Ooh, I know the haiku.
Me too! That's why we're going to take a look at it now. Haiku! So if you have seen haiku and dealt with them before, yay, go you. If not, then yay, go me. I get to introduce you to haiku. And so Jake has volunteered to introduce haiku to us. You have all of this information already on your handout that you downloaded, the one that you used for the poetry homework and stuff like that. It's already there. But I figure looking up here will be a little bit easier. So Jake, I'm going to have you read to us about haiku while I push kids' homework off their desks. Go for it.
Alright, oh, that's my bad. Alright, a haiku is a 3-line poem of Japanese origin, containing 17 syllables. There are 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second line, and 5 syllables in the third line. Such a poem must communicate meaning through very few words and should only have one idea per haiku. The subject matter of a haiku is usually drawn from nature.
Nailed it.
And animals and other stuff. The flamingo.
Yeah, those are all examples of nature. You are on fire. With haiku, they are short and they're set to very specific ideas. With haiku, it is going to require you to count syllables. There's a number of ways to count syllables, which you can remember way back to elementary school. One, if you cannot figure out a word and having a tough time with it, you can do what's called the jaw drop method, which is if you hold your hand underneath your jaw, every time your jaw comes down is a syllable. So if you're trying to figure out syllable is a total of 3 syllables. You can go hippopotamus, and you can count them out that way. So if you have a tough time, it helps also when you're counting, don't move your hand up at the same time. If you're like, pickles, 12 syllables. It doesn't work if you do that at the same time. You just keep it and it moves down. Eventually, you're going to move from this one, and you're going to move up to the clapping monkey method, where you can go through and count it. How many syllables are in my name? And you'll clap your way through it. And then the third one, when you become the most advanced, you just do it by counting it with your hand. I can now count syllables like a master. And so you'll count them along with those same ideas.
11.
With our haiku, first off, how many lines is every haiku?
3.
Always going to be 3 lines. The first line has how many syllables?
5.
Second line, third line,
15.
for a total of how many syllables?
17.
The only other things to hit with it is how many different ideas, images, thoughts should be in a haiku? 1, because they should not be long. Your haiku is only 3 lines long. It's not going to have very many words in it, so you have to focus on just one image or idea the whole way through. The other thing, as Jake so wonderfully pointed out, what is it our haiku should be about?
Nature!
And so nature is going to be anything that's going to be found out in nature or animals or something like that. I have a couple different haiku examples we're going to go through and take a look at.
Wait, am I nature?
It says, little piggies are rolling around in the mud. I hear the oinking. So as you counted, little piggies are rolling around in the mud. I hear the oinking. So it gives you 5, 7, 5. It has one topic, which is piggies. And then piggies come from nature because they're delicious. Nailed it. Something like that.
And they have bacon.
And they like to collect bacon. Stanza 2 is a famous one that's been around for a long time. I figured I'd throw an actual, really real one up there that I didn't write. Broken and broken, again on the sea, the moon so easily mends.
It's
so pretty. I know. Broken and broken, again on the sea, the moon so easily mends. The idea on this one, because it's so fancy, is like being on a seashore at night and watching the moon reflect off the ocean. And you can see the reflection of it, and then the waves hit and it breaks apart, and then as the water goes back out, goes back together. Mending is to fix, come back together. Like mending a friendship. And the last one, squirrels are in the trees. I can hear their chattering. I dodge the acorns. Squirrels are in the trees. I can hear their chattering. I dodge the acorns. Something along those lines.
Wait, can you dodge?
It's not you, it's other kids this time. I know.
Was it me?
Not yet. Shh, they figured it out. They stopped talking now. Is it me? Parthenia!
I thought squirrels was 2 syllables.
Squirrels. You can if you want to drag squirrel. But usually it goes people one.
Who said squirrel?
Now, we're going to take a look at a couple broken haiku and see if you can figure out why these particular haiku are broken. Rocks are really hard. They are used to hold down grass. Some are just brown.
Is it not nature?
It is nature. Rocks come from nature. Nicely done. Some are just brown. Is a total of
16. It's 16. I'm so good. It's not.
So, how would we fix that last line to make it so it would work correctly?
Some are just.
Some are just cool brown. Awkward, but it can work. Yeah, you yelling at's not going to help it chase at all. Osiki?
Some are just all brown.
Some are, that would work also. Parthenia?
Some are just light brown.
Light brown would work. Carson?
Some rocks are just brown.
And that would work too. Well done.
Good job.
Our next one. How is this one broken? The dogs are jumping. Look, a tree is over there. I just saw it. Snell.
It doesn't stay on one topic.
Not even a little bit. Good. Much like the dogs, it is jumping everywhere. And so you have to focus. But Mr. Brovicast, those are all things outside. Good job. Those are all things outside. But you have to be a bit more focused than that. And our last one. Cell phones are so cool. I love texting all my friends. Read my words, people!
Not nature.
That is correct.
There's no exclamation points.
And on this one, it is not nature, so that's going to cause our problem there. By the way, the plural of haiku, like fish and deer, is just haiku. Look at all those deer juggling fish while saying haiku. It's the same thing. With these, that's about as much as I can do with haiku. The only other thing we're going to do is tomorrow with our bell work, we're going to introduce you to what are called insult haikus. And the way insult haiku works is you're going to use haiku to attack somebody. Because in your 575, you're going to go across, kid who keeps talking, you have spent all your B points, detention time soon. And so something along those lines where you're going to try and help somebody out. Now, eye rolling me now won't fix your many issues, except you shall die. Something along those lines. It's so many. It could be so many kids in this class right around, right? No, it could, I lost that one. I was trying so hard. But that's what we're going to introduce you to tomorrow, is being able to do the whole insult haiku thing, where you use haiku. It still has to follow the 5-7-5. It's just not going to focus on the nature parts. It's going to focus on the other parts of it. Tomorrow? Yes, you can. Now, we're going to take a look at a poem that we're going to have to go through. And one, it's a speaker poem. So you have to figure out, much like in the, not Caterpillar, that one.
The other Seven Doors.
That one. We have to figure out who the speaker is. There's going to be clues in this one to help you figure out who it is, although I suspect you'll probably figure out this one pretty quickly. It's a total of 2 stanzas, but we're going to do 1 stanza and then get to the second stanza, and then we're going to sort of figure out the clues. The reason being, the quiz coming up on Friday, the Socrative quiz, is going to be one that requires you to read a poem on your own. So on the homework Wednesday, there is a poem that we are not going to cover together. So I'm going to try and train you this week so that you can read the poem and then figure it out. Part of what you're going to have to do is read it. Good job. Figure out the similes and metaphors, and then figure out who the speaker in the poem is. So for this one, Tate, I'm going to have you read our first stanza, and then we're going to start figuring out the similes and metaphors that are in there. All right, Tate, living tenderly.
My body around is done with the pattern of smooth seams. My head is short snake, retracted, projected.
Huh?
My legs come out of their sleeves or shrink within, and so does my chin. My eyelids are quick clamps.
Well,
Is it a turtle?
I'm not done yet. My body a rounded stone with a pattern of smooth seams. My head a short snake, retractive, projective. My legs come out of their sleeves or shrink within, and so does my chin. My eyelids are quick clamps. Why would you shush him? He had too many points. He was trying to get rid of them. He was excited about learning.
Every time.
That you talk out loud, you lose points? I know, I feel the same way. It's weird. Zachary, it could be a turtle. Who knows? Let's find some evidence. Zachary, first similar metaphor you can find in there to help guide us.
Oh, the first one
Which says,
is a metaphor.
nicely done. My body a rounded stone. Comparing what 2 nouns?
The body and the stone.
Well done. Now, one last thing. Why are we comparing his body to a stone?
Because it's hard like a stone.
Nicely done, Zachary. Not saying round. I'm proud of you. My other class like, yes, it's round. I'm like, that's not why they're comparing it, because you could say like a marshmallow or a potato chip. Those are also round. So here's my stone, and there's his body.
Dang.
He looks adorable. Right? So the idea that his body is hard like that, and the fact that it's round, and then that next one's not really a metaphor where it says a pattern of smooth seams. Do you know what a seam is?
Yeah, it's like little like dots where like stuff on like
The seam.
What?
I don't see
Can
like
you
your
get like
pants, you
your
have to
clothes
iron it out.
seam? It's like a.
That's a wrinkle.
Oh. I
Pretty
don't know.
close.
It's like.
Oh, is it like stitchy mark?
There you go. The stitching marks.
I knew that's
Where your sleeve, usually you're going to have one somewhere in that area where the sleeve connects. That
Oh,
is
I
seam.
see it.
I should have known that.
Oh, yeah.
So his body is a stone, and it's covered in seams. Jake, give our next similar metaphor,
Yeah, it's the third line. It's a metaphor
which
thing.
says,
Because in my head, a short snake.
comparing what 2 things?
The head and the snake.
Nicely done. Now, here's where it gets a little bit tougher. To figure out why we're comparing his head to a snake, we have to know what those 2 words mean. Retractive, projective. Seth?
Attractive means like.
Not attractive.
No. Listen. Attractive means good, and that says attractive, so it probably means something like ugly or like good looking.
No.
It
I like
means
your
like
thinking.
his head
Not
is
quite,
retracted,
but not bad.
so you can like
Kid,
take it
you were
off.
doing so well earlier. Back down. Don't channel your inner Zachary. It's okay. Demas?
Retractive means like come out and goes into like the shell.
Nicely done. To retract means to pull in, like airplanes with little, or if you have a sleeve, when you guys get yelled at and you start like pulling yourself into your life. That's retractive. Speaking of projective, this thing on my ceiling up here is called a projector. It's the same thing. It means to project. So when it says my head is a short snake, retractive, projective, what can his head do?
Project.
He can launch it. And then,
Interject.
Okay, yeah.
so yeah, the head can pull back in and then go back out.
Oh my. I like
And that last part,
Lefty one.
my legs come out of their sleeves or shrink within. So not only does his head do it, but also
His legs.
so the legs and arms can do both. There is, Martine, yeah,
I like his
one
socks.
more simile and or metaphor up there.
My eyelids are quick
Well done. Comparing what two things?
eyelids and clams.
Go. You know what a clamp is?
Good God.
It's
These
like-
guys-
Can you applaud somebody if they're doing a good job, like losing points when they keep talking?
the thingy.
Okay.
I don't know.
If you guys read a bag of potato chips and you want the potato chips to go bad at the end, and you put the little the clamp that goes on. I figured that. Oh, hey, potato chips on. Yeah, I figured that'd be the reference to go with for you guys. I put the little clamp on there. It's
He
the
looks
same
like
thing.
a WWE wrestler.
He does. I think it's the luchadora, the Mexican wrestlers. I just typed in like face or like that into Google Images, and that one popped up, and I was like, adorable.
Alright.
So I decided to
You
go.
should have done your own face.
That would be
Why is
creepy.
it? Why is it?
Give kids
Why
nightmares.
can't it be other?
When it says my eyelids are quick clamps, it does not mean that he can pick up papers and like hold them together. As much fun as that would be.
That would be so cool.
He
So-
squints a lot.
Maybe not squinted, but I like the creative interpretation.
Quickly. It's like
Not quickly.
hard.
There you go. The fact that it pushes together really hard because of a place where he lives, he's going to have to be able to keep his eyes together really
Someone
tight.
smells bad.
Come on.
Stanza 2. We'll go from there. Sure, Seth. Stanza 2.
My back is my roof. I am always at home. I travel where my house walks. It is a smooth stone. It floats within the lake or rests in the dust. My flesh lives tenderly inside its bone.
Nice. Done.
Wait, there's flesh inside your bone?
We're getting there.
That's disgusting.
My back is my roof. I'm always at home. I travel where my house walks. It is a smooth stone. It floats within the lake or rests in the dust. My flesh lives tenderly inside its bone. We're going to go through and help explain all the bits.
I got you.
Once again, not knowing for who it is, looking for my similes and metaphors. Bemis, where is my first simile or metaphor in there? I know, I was so proud of you for volunteering like that.
Oh, my back is my roof. It's
Simile or metaphor?
comparing the metaphor,
Good job. Metaphor comparing.
back and roof.
So whoever this is,
Oh.
saying that his back is his roof, and his roof is, that next part says, I am always at home.
Not connected to the body.
He's gonna catch him.
When he says, I am always at home,
He travels.
I have personification.
ooh, where?
It says, I travel where my house walks.
Nicely done.
Mmm.
Because, meaning he is always with his house. Does our speaker have a home?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is his home?
It's
a
shell.
Nicely done.
Oh, it's an alliteration.
So, ooh,
It's a
we do
turtle.
alliteration.
I am always at.
That is an alliteration. I am always at. There's actually another alliteration there. I didn't even realize that. Until just now.
You're so welcome.
Where's our next alliteration then?
Can I take a moment?
Sarah
Oh,
Snell.
it's stone.
Smooth stone would be that one that was up there. I hadn't thought about it. Jake.
Metaphor is it is a smooth stone.
Now this is a tough one, Jake. Here's the reason why this one's tough. We are comparing two things. One of them is a pronoun.
Oh, smooth and stone.
No.
No. Chinchillas can jump 6 feet
Good
high.
job. It and stone.
I'm amazing.
You're not done yet.
Oh, shoot.
What is the it referring to?
Him.
The house.
No, it's
Object.
it's like how
Chinchillas
the
can jump
house.
6 feet.
Nicely done. Referring to the house and the roof, saying that one is like a stone. And then, let's see, rest of that last line where it says, my flesh lives tenderly inside. Do you guys know what flesh is?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's in my butt.
It's like that thingy that you have.
For us, our flesh does not live inside the bone.
Ours is outside.
Bone is inside of our skin.
The stuff in the bone.
So for our speaker, they're saying that their bone is outside of their skin. And then, floats within the lake, rest of the dust, we'll come back to that one
Wait,
too.
so its bone is its shell?
Something like that.
So it's like a skeleton guy?
Something like
It's a
that.
tortoise.
Here are the two guesses that I've seen.
Crab. It's a crab. It's a tortoise, guys.
Well,
I've
It's a
never
slug.
seen a real crab, so I don't know.
so here's my question to you.
Where's the turtle at? You have a turtle.
It could be Mr. Krabs. There's a turtle in here.
Where's it at?
Mr. Krabs.
Right next to your loss of points for kid who keeps yelling at me.
Oh my god.
Again! I know you keep saying it. So, here's my question to you, aside from how many points can we lose within a few minutes. Evidence in the poem to point to either turtle or crab. What can you use to point one way or the other?
My back is my root.
Tina?
I'm sorry.
I'm going to say it's a turtle because in the first stanza, it says, my head a short snake.
And how does that prove turtle?
Like, it's
And not a crab?
Has a crab.
Yeah.
Parthenia?
It says, my body is retractive and projective.
Okay.
A crab's head is, the crab's head doesn't stick out of its
But their
shell.
little legs come in and out.
Yeah.
Their eyeballs.
My head is
I've seen Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob. Alright.
And he says clam. Come on.
Tyler, he has clamped. Tyler?
I forget what a crab looks like.
There's a picture.
Eyelids.
Picture right there.
You're going with the crab clampy things? That's usually one of the kids that point in that direction. Snell? Makes it which one? I can see that being more of the solid color from there.
I know.
Oh
I'm glad to see you guys get excited about poetry. Jalen?
I to see what the turtle's support is.
Why?
Because crabs don't have seams.
That's what she was sort of going to the idea of that seam part of it. I can see. Zachary?
I know why it said the snake head thing.
Okay.
Because the turtle's head looks like a snake.
Look, I got the best one.
I do not. I don't think so.
I have the best one.
Jay?
It says it floats within the lake, and a crab is usually like in an ocean thingy.
Not bad.
And it doesn't have a J-O.
But it's at the bottom. It's at the bottom of the lake. It doesn't float in the ocean.
I would agree that it's a turtle. Part of it was being able to get you ready for Friday, being able to prove from evidence in the poem one way or the other. And I realize that for some of you, you have never actually seen a turtle.
I told you it was a turtle. I catched her. Is it gonna kill me?
I knew it was.
Oh my
It gets a little, so hang on.
No, you don't have a real turtle in there. You did not set that out.
Pretty calm.
No.
Usually not much of a problem.
Oh, the shell.
Don't do it!
Guys, he can't put a ball. He can't put a back over a turtle.
And you can't.
You're getting ready to cry.
Because you were right next to it.
With the turtle shell, knowing that a lot of you guys have grown up watching them on cartoons and whatnot.
I see the bone.
I'm well aware. Doing so well for so long. I feel the same way. The turtle, they can't take off their shell. You can't like grab the turtle like and pull them out of it. It's connected. When you put a hole into the back of the turtle's shell, what you see on the inside of it is not like a turtle on the inside waving at you. You're going to see the inside of a turtle. You're going to see turtle guts. Just like if I were to put a hole in Tessa, you wouldn't have like a little Tessa on the inside waving at you. You would have like coming out. So turtles work the same way. On the inside of the shell, there's these little spiky things that run along that top part and then down there. That's going to be the rib cage. Because the ribs grow straight out of that and then connect down to the bottom. And so they just sort of broke off during the cleaning process. That's the whole thing in there.
Wait, Jake,
Tessa,
I have two.
You might have three.
focus.
No, I have two things. Is that real?
Yeah. It's amazing what you can get on eBay.
That was from eBay?
Yeah.
Yeah. They just buy them and they sell them. They clean it and then shellac it shellac is like I have my puzzles over there so they don't fall apart. It's like the special little cleany stuff. And that's what makes it all shiny.
We had 3 snapping turtles, and my dad would always get them out, and they would always chase me around the house and bite me.
You have an interesting home.
There's one in the
Tyler?
My dad thought it would be funny.
That's attached to the turtle. And my other question is, like in the one turtle shell, he used to take off his shell and take a bath or something.
Yeah.
I remember one of those episodes.
Are you talking about?
That's why Jalen and back with my desk. I see you. I don't call on you because you're out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I wanted to point out the fact that yes, turtles can't take them off. It's the bottom part is their breastbone. Same thing you guys have, thunk 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 right there. That's theirs. It's just bigger on the bottom. Seth?
If you wanted to, if you just put your hands like on each side, can you just crush it? Is it like really like? Is it really hard?
It is. It took. I've had this for a few years. I had kids when I was walking around. I let kids like sit there and tap it. I had one kid that punched it, and it put a little crack in it, and that's just gotten bigger since then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at the end of class, you want to come see it. It's fine.
Can I throw it against the wall?
I could probably only because now it's cracked. Like if it hadn't been cracked, I don't think I'd be able to. It's pretty strong.
Hey, I could probably break it.
Tomorrow we're gonna get into a whole different.